In a small-town diner, a humble waitress named Maya carried more than just coffee. She carried battle scars and untold stories. When a group of soldiers mocked her appearance, they had no idea who she really was, until a quiet veteran stood up, recognized her tattoo, and changed everything. Subscribe to USA Drama 2.0 for more heart-touching and powerful real-life stories like this one. The morning rush at Millstone Diner had just begun. The smell of freshly brewed coffee mixed with the sizzle of bacon filled the air. Regular customers came and went, exchanging laughter and casual chatter. But behind the counter stood Maya, quiet, composed, and polite as ever. Maya was known for her gentle voice and kind smile, but many noticed the faded scars on her arms and the slight limp in her step. Most people didn't ask about them, but some did whisper, out of curiosity or judgment. Still, Maya continued her work, treating everyone with respect no matter what they thought of her. That morning, a group of young soldiers entered the diner, energetic, proud, and full of confidence. They had just completed training nearby and wanted breakfast before heading back to base. Their laughter filled the diner as they took their seats near the counter. "Morning, folks," Maya greeted with a polite smile, her voice calm. "Coffee for everyone." One of them, a tall man named Carter, smirked and looked her over. "Sure thing, ma'am. You look like you've seen some battles yourself," he joked, pointing toward the scars on her arm. His friends chuckled, not realizing how those words carried the weight of real pain. Maya simply smiled faintly. "Cream or black?" she asked, ignoring the sting of mockery. "Black's fine," Carter replied. "Just like your battle marks, huh?" The group laughed again, but one man sitting at the far end didn't. He was older, quieter, his eyes focused on Maya. His uniform bore faded patches that spoke of years of service. His name was Sergeant Daniel Brooks, a retired veteran who'd seen more than his share of pain and courage. Maya poured their coffee, steady hands masking the tremor in her heart. She had learned long ago that silence was her shield. As she turned to serve Daniel, he noticed something on her wrist, a faint but unmistakable tattoo. His eyes widened. It was the insignia of the 31st Rescue Unit, a specialized team known for their bravery overseas. He froze. That unit was his old team. Daniel leaned forward, voice low but filled with emotion. "Miss, where did you get that tattoo?" he asked softly. Maya looked startled. "Few people ever asked about it." "Oh, it's from a long time ago," she replied. "You probably wouldn't know them." Daniel's heart pounded. "Try me," he said. "I served with the 31st Rescue Unit in Kandahar, 2012. Maya's eyes flickered with surprise. She hesitated, then smiled faintly. "So did I," she said quietly. The diner went silent for Daniel. Time seemed to freeze. The soldiers nearby stopped laughing, noticing the change in tone. "You were with the 31st? He asked again, disbelief in his voice. Maya nodded. "Field medic," she said softly. "I was assigned after Corporal Jennings got injured." Daniel's eyes filled with emotion. "Jennings was my teammate. You saved him." The young soldiers exchanged confused looks. The woman they'd mocked just moments ago was a war veteran, someone who had served in the same unit as their sergeant. The room faded as Daniel remembered the sandstorms of Kandahar, the chaos, the screams, the endless night of explosions. He remembered a rescue mission gone wrong, when his team was ambushed. A medic had run through gunfire to save a trapped soldier, her arm torn by shrapnel, her uniform soaked in blood. She never stopped. That medic was Maya. Daniel whispered, "You're the one who called Jennings from the wreckage. You were hit in the arm, and still went back for the others." Maya lowered her eyes. "I did what anyone would have done," she said humbly. "But after that day, I couldn't serve anymore. The scars, well, they remind me that we all made it out alive." The soldiers sat frozen, their earlier laughter replaced with guilt and awe. Carter, the one who had mocked her, stood up awkwardly. "Ma'am, I didn't know. I'm sorry. We were just joking around." Maya smiled kindly. "It's okay. Sometimes we all forget that battles don't always show on the outside." Daniel stood, saluting her right there in the diner. The room went completely silent. "Maya Thompson," he said with reverence, "you're a hero. You saved my brothers, and me. You deserve every bit of respect we can give." Tears welled up in Maya's eyes as she returned the salute, her hands trembling slightly. The other soldiers followed, standing up one by one. The air in the diner changed. It was no longer a casual morning crowd. It had become a moment of deep honor and gratitude. From that day on, Millstone Diner became more than a breakfast stop for the soldiers. It became a place where they gathered to learn from Maya, to hear her stories, and to remember the cost of their freedom. Maya's scars no longer felt like a mark of pain. They became a symbol of survival, courage, and compassion. Daniel often visited her, sitting in his usual booth by the window. They would talk about the old days, the ones they lost, and the lessons they carried home. "Funny, isn't it?" Daniel said one afternoon. "You came here to serve coffee, and you ended up serving inspiration." Maya laughed softly. "I guess we never stop serving, do we?" A few months later, a local reporter came to interview Maya after hearing whispers about the waitress with the unit tattoo. The article titled, "Wounds of War, Heart of Gold," went viral across the community. People began visiting the diner, not just for the food but to meet the woman who turned her scars into stories of hope. Veterans came from nearby towns just to thank her. Young recruits listened to her advice before heading out to serve. Her story became a bridge between generations, between those who had fought and those who were still learning what it meant to serve. One summer evening, Daniel surprised Maya with a special visit. He had brought along 3 men, former members of the 31st Rescue Unit. They entered the diner, wearing smiles and holding a framed photo. It was the picture of their old team in uniform, standing in the desert, covered in dust but full of pride. Maya gasped softly, her hand over her heart. "I haven't seen this in years." Daniel handed it to her. "We wanted you to have this. You were part of our family then, and you still are now." Maya's eyes filled with tears as she hugged them one by one. The diner filled with applause from the customers who had gathered around. That night, the sound of clinking coffee cups was replaced by laughter, gratitude, and stories of survival. Over time, Maya's diner became a small landmark of hope. She started a local veterans fund to help those adjusting to civilian life. Every cup of coffee sold donated a small portion to the cause. Daniel and his fellow veterans volunteered too, helping repair homes, deliver food, and mentor young recruits. When people asked Maya why she never covered her scars, she always smiled and said, "Because someone out there needs to see that healing is possible." And so, the woman once mocked for her scars became the heart of her community. Her strength inspired not just soldiers, but everyone who walked through those diner doors. Her story reminds us that true heroes don't always wear uniforms, they wear courage, kindness, and a quiet smile. Outro for your YouTube narration. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to USA Drama 2.0 for more inspiring and emotional real-life stories. Because here at USA Drama 2.0, every story reminds us that respect, courage, and kindness never go out of style.